Hey guys, Sal here, and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Dragon's Teeth DLC. Now, I haven't actually played Battlefield 4 itself in a very long time. I actually just checked on Battlelog, and it's been over 2 months since I've actually played Battlefield 4, so I'm coming off of a bit of a dry streak, you might say. I've just been off and doing other things and playing other games, and I thought, you know what, we have Dragon's Teeth out, and I haven't actually played it, and I paid for it, so I might as well go ahead and give it a try. Now, overall, first impressions, I do really like this DLC. I really like that it is focused on the infantry combat, because that is definitely the kind of player that I am when it comes to first-person shooters. Don't get me wrong, I like vehicles, I love playing in vehicles, but the infantry combat really is what I like. So we're going to be mainly talking about the maps themselves and how they play with this video. We're not really going to focus on the weapons too much because I haven't really had much chance to give them a try. I've only been able to play this for maybe 3 or 4 hours, so this is going to be kind of an initial impressions of the DLC itself. Now, the past DLC in Battlefield 4, it's been okay. It hasn't been that great. I'm thinking of like China Rising. That was like all outside, like, you know, rolling hills. I hated that DLC. I think a lot of people did as well. Then we also had Second Assault, which I don't really count as a DLC that I can compare the other ones to, because Second Assault was more of this DLC that was, well, it was based on past successes. So of course the maps were good, they were fun, but they weren't really something new, and we're not really going to compare it to the other new maps because from the past we saw that people enjoyed those maps, so I can't really compare that to the new DLCs coming out. So Naval Strike, the other DLC, I liked Naval Strike. I thought it was pretty good, but it still didn't really, it wasn't my favorite DLC, I would say, now that I've played Dragon's Teeth, because we are mostly outside in Naval Strike. We have a lot of open areas. There are some closed areas with like inside areas, and that's what I kind of really like. We do have some of that in Naval Strike, but there wasn't really much of it. Now in Dragon's Teeth we have lots of it. This is urban warfare is what it is described as, with infantry focused combat. It's closer, we have a lot more buildings, less open spaces, and not a lot of vehicles, which is really what I really looked for in a map that I like to play. Now I found that it was very reminiscent of Battlefield 3 for me. Now that might have been because I haven't actually played Battlefield in about 2 months. That may be the reason why I found that it was playing like Battlefield 3, but that's a good thing for the most part, because I really like Battlefield 3, and if a map is reminding me of Battlefield 3, that's a good thing in itself. I really enjoyed that we didn't have these massive areas that you had to run across. Most of the action was fairly focused, and we didn't have any like large areas that you needed to run across where it took, you know, like hours and hours and you couldn't find a vehicle to spawn. That's a little bit frustrating. Now, the new game mode in Dragon's Teeth is called Chain Link, and this is essentially, it's kind of like Conquest, except it's a little more tactical. And essentially you still have the not MCOMs, but you still have the objectives that you need to capture, and you capture them the same way like you normally would in a game of Conquest, but it's a little bit different in the sense that you only really get points when you connect two that are side by side and you link the two together. So you can't just run around and just capture any objective and get points for it. You have to actually capture ones that are side by side so you can link them, hence the name Chain Link, believe it or not, and then you get points for linking those two. And it's a little weird in the sense that you can't just go and capture one objective and have, well, any objective you capture will be useful, but there definitely are objectives that are more useful to capture than others. For example, you can break a chain, say the enemy has 5 in a row or something, and you can capture the one right in the middle, and you'll break 2 of those links. So it adds a little more tactile decision making to the game type, and I was finding that I was just kind of running around and capturing whatever I could, and I was finding that it wasn't really the most efficient tactic, because a lot of the time I would capture something that's just like on the very end and we wouldn't actually be getting any links for it, and I found that I could have been better used elsewhere. But overall, I really enjoyed it. Some of the maps, I don't even know all of the map names yet, but some of the maps, there's one where you're right in like a city. There's lots of buildings, lots of little alleyways. I absolutely love that. I really thrive in that kind of environment when I'm playing shooters. I've never been one that just kind of sits back and just kind of takes in like a large area, then I just kind of pick people off from afar. I've always been one to kind of get right in the action, get right in there, mainly because I find it a little bit easier to kill people up close, and you can just kind of snap onto those targets rather than having to focus a lot on your aim from longer distances. I find that a little bit frustrating, and I like the instant gratification of getting a kill from right up close, and not even just one kill, multiple kills as well, and I really enjoyed that. So overall, I found that Dragon's Teeth was a very pleasant surprise to return to after not playing Battlefield 4 for a very long time. And it actually kind of rekindled my love for Battlefield. I kind of stopped playing because I was a little frustrated with it. I didn't like that, you know, Battlefield Hardline. I didn't like the beta. Then I decided that I didn't like Battlefield 4 because of that. I don't know, it was this whole long thing, and I was just not into it. But anyways, I found it a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. And if you haven't played it yet, you haven't downloaded it yet, I recommend you do and just give it a quick try. So guys, with that, that's pretty much all I have to say for you guys. Remember, if you have enjoyed the video, please do hit that like button. I always appreciate that. So guys, with that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.